Hey guys! I almost forgot to hit record on the audio recorder, but I caught it at the last minute. So there's a victory already on this rainy morning. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Tea Time with Tiffany. Um, I feel like I have so many different things bouncing around in my head about what I wanted to mention this week. So we're just going to see what I remember, which will be about half probably, if the past is any indication. So we'll see what I manage to not forget in the next 10 minutes or so. But it's been a good week. Lots happening. And so I will update you as much as I can. So the big the big news is that Christina and I are all official with having a new podcast. We recorded the first episode yesterday, and I was working the evening yesterday, so I get comp time for working the evening, so I was able to use that time to work on lots of audio stuff. And I was, I'll just say it. I hope this isn't prideful. I was very proud of myself and of Christina and I together, of figuring out a lot of what we have accomplished so far already, because this is all totally new to us. Um, so yeah, it was a task. And so we have a lot that is done already. I even recorded an intro and an outro. I feel so accomplished that I was able to do this. So we have all of that. I have the episode edited and ready. Um, and we have our blog all set up, thanks to Christina, and ready to be hosting our show notes and to serve as our feed. So what we have to do right now, I'm not going to give too many details about like the title or anything that we're theming it around or anything yet. The big launch is going to be next week, pre-Holy Week launch. And so I'll give you all the details then. Right now, we're just working on getting some show notes together. We need to submit it to iTunes, and that takes a couple of days usually for them to approve it and actually have it up and available for you to subscribe. So we're just going to give that the rest of this week and the weekend to settle out. And then we'll have the big announcement next week, but it's a huge yay. We had a great time recording, and I've listened to some of the episode, and I really think that you're going to like it. I do. I think that it suits our personalities very well. It's very much a conversation between two friends, and that we would like you to be a part of as well, that you can become part of that conversation. And um, I think that you're going to enjoy it, and we certainly enjoyed recording it, and we're looking forward to doing it again. And a lot of the technical stuff that took me a long time is just a one-time investment. Once that's done, we're not going to have to duplicate that every time we record. So I think it's going to get easier. It's not going to be a weekly show, just so you know. We just don't, unfortunately, have the availability to be able to do that. But we're aiming for once a month right now, and it's possible, we talk about this in the episode, but it's possible at some point that we could increase the frequency depending on how it's going and how life is sort of unfolding for us in the months coming up. But we'll just see. It's evolving, and we're just sort of seeing how it's going to go, and we're all in this together, sort of a mentality. And yeah, so we're very, very, very excited. So that's like really big news. Big news, big news. So you will be hearing some more about that next week. Also next week, I have a piece coming out on Catholic Mom about St. Dominic Savio. I love saint stuff, don't you? It's just, I love learning about them and about their lives and how they apply even many hundreds of years after their earthly life, how their struggles and triumphs can be an inspiration to me now, and how they are still so applicable to the different situations that we deal with today. They, it's I just love the communion of saints. It's just such a comforting and wonderful thing. So we have St. Dominic Savio, so I'll be posting about that next week. And yes, it'll be a really big week. It's spring break for me next week, so that's nice. That's why I have a little bit of extra time at the end of this week too, because there's obviously no classes, and so I don't have any lesson plans or anything. And I've got a couple meetings that crept up next week for search committee that I'm on, and for some instruction stuff, but it should be a nice quieter week, so lots of excitement, lots of excitement. And unfortunately though, with going back to our New Year's resolutions, with it being spring break, there's no fitness classes next week, which is a huge bummer. I will miss them. But my dance studio is having a shimmy clinic next week. Don't you love that? A shimmy clinic. I like that phrase, that your shimmy can be in need of some resuscitation. I think that's a great way of putting it. So I'm looking forward to that. So that'll provide an extra class for me next week. And there's a workshop, a week from Sunday next weekend. And on May Lef, which to try to, I guess, get into a description of what that is would take the rest of this podcast time, so I won't do that, but it's a specific sub-style within Middle Eastern dance, and that I have never studied, so I'm thinking of taking that too. And it's long, it's like 3 hours. It's definitely a workshop rather than just a class, so I want to say that it would even involve learning an entire choreography that could be performed for the summer performance season. So maybe, I think that would be fun. That would be fun. And I've just had dance on the brain. We have the sword choreography finished, and Sword is just absolutely thrilled because at the end we all have these different little solo parts. I forgot him in my trunk last Friday because the parking lot was all full. It's because the ballroom dancers were just finishing up when we left, and so the parking lot was just a mess. So I had to park on the street, and I was just all discombobulated, and I forgot him in the trunk. So I improvised with a cane, and Sword does not like being replaced like that. But it worked out, and the choreography is finished. And I think it's cute. In a group with swords, you're balancing a lot and doing dramatic arm formations with the swords, and that looks really nice, but it's not like you can do a lot of dancing because you can't move around that much when you have a sword on your head, and especially when there's other people very close to you that you obviously cannot bump into. So the actual dancing part of that choreography is definitely not the highlight. And so I was really glad that we started a brand new choreography that has no props involved, just a very upbeat instrumental. I love the song, and I'm excited. I really think this is good for my aging brain cells that we have so many dance choreographies to remember. We're warding off all kinds of dementia. I think so. There have been studies that claim that there is a correlation between taking dance instruction and then having a lesser incidence of dementia later in life. So here's hoping. But yeah, we have a lot in our repertoire right now. Some of them we've retired. Some she wants to totally revamp, like we did our wing number for a couple of years, and she wants to redo it because now we've got some new members and such. And so we're not doing wings this summer, but in the couple years to come, we may do a completely new wing choreography. But right now, in the current repertoire, we have the sword, we have the new upbeat instrumental, we have a veil, we have a pop song, we have a drum. We have a Saidi cane. Oh, just Saidi. Well, there's a couple. We do have the cane, but the mixed level group, I think, is doing a Saidi cane, so we're not going to be using that this season. But we have the shabi. That's what it was trying to come, another S word. The shabi. So we have a lot in there, and I think that there's some that I'm forgetting. So yeah, it's really a lot of fun. It's a good challenge to try to remember so many pieces and to learn new ones. And I think it's good for me. And I just absolutely love the performance season. And we have a lot coming up. One of the places that we performed at last summer, we had one date that we went to. It went very, very well. And then we were booked for a second date, but it was getting into the fall. It's outside and outdoor craft market. And so this second date was in September, and they canceled due to the weather. It was windy and rainy. So that was too bad. But this year they called us and booked us once a month because they really liked our show. And yeah, and they had gotten good feedback about it. And we pride ourselves on having a very fun, upbeat, family-friendly show. And so we're very excited about putting all that together. So lots to look forward to. So I've got all kinds of dance stuff. I've got to decide on a solo, and I'm thinking about a ballady. That's another thing. We have a troupe ballady piece. But I was thinking about doing a different ballet number as a solo, but I don't know. Then I was tempted to get a new costume to get it because usually we perform melody in a gown, and we have troop gowns. Um, but would I want to rewear a troop gown? Certainly, that's what I should do. I don't need to buy a new costume just for this, but that's what I'm thinking about. It's doing a ballet. I love, love, love that style of music. So we'll see. But so I'm thinking about that. And also coming up, I mentioned this in a post this week, we've got a couple of weddings coming up. I have a big visit coming up from Memorial Day weekend. Christina and family are coming to see us, and we are so excited. This will be the first time that our kids and our husbands will meet in real life. And so we're planning some family stuff. We're going to go to a local shrine. We're going to go out to dinner. We're going to, go to see some local tourist attractions. And Christina and I are going to have a girl night. And we're going to go do what Christina and I do. We're going to talk nonstop for several hours and probably have some wine. And we'll record a podcast, and it's going to be super duper fun. So we have that coming up, and Mike and I think, are going to take a little trip with the kids sometime this summer, and we're going to go to Central New York and go to a couple of shrines there. I mentioned this in the podcast I do with Christina, so I'll leave the details for you to listen to there, but go to a couple of shrines that I've been wanting to go to for a while, and also go to do a little hiking and up near the Adirondacks, and just go see some other historic types of things that are available in that area, and spend a couple nights. And I think it's going to be really pleasant. And we really haven't taken the kids on vacations very much. I've taken Henry to Maine the past couple of years, but now Anne is getting old enough that really she should be included too. And, the one thing that we really do sacrifice, because Mike and I both have graduate school loans, is vacations. Like, that's where we cut in the budget so that we can try and just make those go away, which we're very close. We're doing very well. And so that's the short term, but I'm thinking, we can't really afford to go anywhere real fancy dancy, but we can take a little road trip and spend a couple of overnights in a nice hotel, and just give the kids that experience. So we're like excited. I mean, there is so much good stuff coming up. So what is coming up for you this spring and summer? I would love to hear about it, and I'd love to hear about how your Lent is going. I did, one of my Lenten resolutions was to get to confession, and I went this week. It is so hard for me to push myself to do that, but as ever, I feel fantastic after I went. It is such a freeing and wonderful feeling, so I encourage you to go if you haven't gone already. For Lent, and I mentioned this in a post too, but I was at a committee meeting at my parish, and we were talking about Holy Week, and I'm getting so excited because I love Holy Week. So we'll talk about that more as it draws closer, but Palm Sunday is actually the week after this Sunday that we have just coming up. So it's really coming up quickly, and I hope that you're all looking forward to it as much as I am. So write in and let me know what's going on with you, what you have coming up. I'd love to hear about it, how your New Year's resolutions are going, how your Lenten resolutions are going. If there's something you'd still like to get done for Lent, it's not too late. I was just listening to Greg and Jennifer talk about this today on their Adventures in Imperfect Living podcast. Just because Lent is half over doesn't mean that you can't just try to do something for the remainder of the period. It's very much still an option to pick up an additional spiritual practice or give something up now and try to make it all the way to Easter Sunday. So if there's something that you have on your mind, write in. And I think sometimes when you write it down, you tell somebody else about it, it makes you feel that accountability. You're more likely to follow through. So write in and tell us all about it, your family here at Life with a Catholic Librarian. I look forward to talking to you, and I will see you all next week. Bye.